Shut up and sit down.
Well, hello there, chat room, and anyone listening after the fact, aka not the live audience. I am Draven, also known as Draven Dresden. However, if you want to say the whole thing, fine. If not, Draven works just fine. Anyway, this is Epic Fail, episode 148. And if you are here live or watching on YouTube or, however, don't be fooled by the picture. Yes, it is from BFA, but we're not going to do any spoilers. It was just a cool picture I liked. So there's that. Joining me this week, Galv, you look and sound weird. What's up with that?
I don't know. I think I slept in, took a trip to Argus. The Endmaker had his way with me. I don't know.
Giggity. Anyway, Galv is MIA this week, which, it happens. But I've got Zeph with me, so yay. Thank you for agreeing on literal short notice, like a half hour before the show.
Well, the lady in purple will always arrive on time, so. We love you, Galv.
No,
You need to show up, man.
it's fine.
I know. I just tease him because he's my side nerd.
Anyway, how's your week been so far, Zeph? What have you been up to?
I got invited to the beta, so I've been doing a lot of that. Things are not as buggy as I thought they'd be, which is great. Did some greetery things for the guild, and then it was just off to the races with BFA. But took a night off from WoW, not last night, but the night before, and went to a trampoline park, and yay, that was fun. My legs still hurt, but it was fun. But now it's like, WoW is just, it's new, it's shiny because I got the new stuff, and I'm just like, what do I do with myself? Failing miserably in Hearthstone is not a good feeling. Trying to get back into StarCraft is a thing now. All of a sudden.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be doing that.
I blame Barf for this one. I really do. Bartholomew, I really do blame you. Like, he mentioned it, and I played like an hour or two Monday before the converted that I was on, and yeah, it was the thing. It was fun. But God, that's a blast from the past. Like, it's been so long since I played the game, so I'm like, I feel like a total, just like, what do I do? I'm such a noob. Somebody please give me a tutorial, because this is not real.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that's what I've been doing. But nothing really.
All right. Well, as for me, outside of the vidya games, as the aforementioned Barf would say, real life stuff, still helping family and all that. I've had a couple exceedingly early days, especially for me, since you may or may not know this, I don't sleep much. But when I do, it's because the sun's coming up. And I got a window right over here, actually. Right next to me. And so that way's east. So I know when. Actually, no, that way's east. That way's west. But either way, there's the window behind me. The sun would shine through if it's starting to get that time of day. So I know when it's quote unquote bedtime. Well, there's been a couple days this week where my bedtime has not happened because I had to be up before I would normally go to sleep for the family stuff, taking relatives to doctors and stuff like that, because it's, half hour to get to them and then another half hour. The one day was even a 2-hour drive taking them to the doctor. So that's been all kinds of fun. Today, I mentioned briefly in the pre-show, I was helping my mom both with her puppies, which are. Let me see. I don't know if you get. This is a 44-ounce cup. It's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I got it when I went to the movies. But it's, like I said, 44-ounce cup. They are not much bigger than this. The 2 new puppies she's got. So that's entertaining because they have tons of energy and love running, so they were enjoying time in the yard. And then while I was out there, I was also helping trim some. I don't want to call them dead plants because they're not dead, but there was the dead parts of them that I was helping trim, and there was like 30 of them. So that was fun. Other than that, in terms of the video game side, I did try Hearthstone, the Monster Hunter thing. I have not beaten any of them because I'm terrible at Hearthstone. But it's been mostly WoW, Overwatch, and Heroes as normal. I actually had some good games with Wicked Kitten last night in Heroes, where we won every game that I played. And that was fun.
Talking about dogs, the aforementioned dogs, I forgot to mention this. My family actually got a new dog the other day. And he was actually a rescue from Texas. So
that's a distance.
Yeah. He was actually saved from the storm 2 years ago, Harvey. And he was up on a barge somewhere, and PETA came in, took care of him for a little bit, and he got adopted.
Yeah. What you mentioned a dog. We have to know what kind it is.
It's not a pit bull, but it's a terrier, sort of like a cousin to that. But yeah, he's cute. His little face, like he's following my mom and my dad around mostly. Mm-hmm. So not a big barker, just just sort of chill. My cats are sort of freaked, but they'll get over it.
Yeah, sounds like the complete opposite of my mom's puppies, who don't shut up, and they have real shrill, because they're tiny, barks. And they always are really excited when I'm there, because that means, yay, new person. And they remember me, but it's new person. But back to the video game thing, mostly WoW this week, as normal. I got a new legendary on my warrior via my paladin, because once you get all the legendaries, you get those little tokens. And I now have every paladin and mage legendary, so anytime they get legendaries, it's for somebody else. And I think, my Nightborn mage is in the 50s, because I haven't really been playing the allied races all that much. But I got a mage one for my paladin last week, or the week before. So I sent it off to that mage, because I was like, yeah, I'll get there eventually. And then this way, once they get 101, yay, item level 1000. And I'll be like, yeah, you're all going to die now? Everything near me?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think Zeph is at 24 Legos, I think. Mm-hmm. We'll have to count them again.
Oh, I'm not. I don't even want to count how many I've got.
I know in my void storage, the first 2 columns are filled. And I think those are 8. And then I think the third column, like the last 2 or 3, aren't filled. Not counting the 2 that's on her. Mm-hmm. So that's 8, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, 24. About 24. Mm-hmm. Maybe 25.
So this is going to sound really weird, but I'm really hoping we have the option to delete these legendaries, because right now it won't let me once the new expansion comes out, because
I don't want to.
if we're not going to use them, I mean, I'm not going to delete them. I just want the option to be able to for the people that, want to. But it's
Like any legendary that I've ever got on Zeph, even if it's like I wasn't actively in the progression of getting them, they're all in wood storage. Like I will not, like my staff is there.
yeah. Well, no, I mean, I got Cataclysm, Firelands, the mage, the staff. My mage has it in his bag, like it's in his backpack. Why? Why not? Because it has a cool transform. If I ever want to, turn into a blue dragon and fly away. My paladin, who has Sulfurous, the meme weapon, who I won't name, but it took me 3+ years to get. And all basically all the old legendaries I have at least one copy of. I still have them, and they're usually in my bank. I don't put them in void storage, but that's because sometimes I like to go into LFR and have fun and see how much damage I can do with crap weapons. You're level 110. Why are you using a level 60 weapon? Still beating you on DPS. Shut up. So, yeah. So anyway, that has been a week and a tangent. So what do you say we get into some of the news?
Okay.
Okay. First up, and I was kind of hoping Gal would be here for this part especially. I'm going to pick on you, Gal. I know you're not here, but I'm going to pick on you anyway. Blizzard has...
Hey, he's the side nerd, so he deserves to be picked on.
Oh, he'd get picked on anyway. He plays a hunter.
Right.
Anyway, Blizzard had its first quarter financial report, which basically says, hey, we made a ton of money. And yes, that is a technical term.
And weren't most of those based off of microtransactions?
A lot has been microtransaction, yeah. A lot were pre-orders for Battle for Azeroth. Like they mentioned, hey, it did way better than we thought it was going to. And I'm pretty sure part of that is because we were able to pre-order it with WoW tokens. With basically with WoW Gold. Because I know that's what I did. And I got the expensive digital version. Because I collect mounts and pets.
So, the new expansion is how many tokens?
Well, it's worth to turn in the token. It's worth $15 in balance. So you're looking at 4 tokens for the regular version, and then let's see, 15, 15, 15, 15. That's 60. One more would be 75. So you're going to end up using 6, but you're going to have leftover balance because that's just how that works. And so yeah, it was interesting. There's not a huge amount of detail that was released this year. It was, Overwatch is getting more people playing, doing more events. One thing for Overwatch I did find interesting was the new event, the Retribution event, had a higher participation rate than any other prior event, including Junkenstein, Lucio Ball, and, well, the May one I understand. But
I mean, Lucio Ball didn't seem very appealing to me, but the Halloween stuff did.
I love Lucio Ball. Once they got, especially last year, whenever they fixed the bug where McCree or Anna or anyone else could show up on occasion, that sucked. But once they fixed the bug where they couldn't anymore, it was great because now no one could die. Whereas if you showed up if the other team had a Anna, you could get sleep darted or poisoned to death, and McCree could just shoot people, and eventually he could get his ult and just kill the entire enemy team who could do nothing to stop it. So that was always an annoying, but funny, but annoying bug. Luckily, I never experienced it with an alt. I did see an Ana once, its first year. But yeah, microtransactions was definitely the big thing. 38 million microtransactions versus, I think that's, if I'm reading it correctly, there's 38 million separate microtransactions. Each one, and that's like race changes and stuff like that in WoW. I mean, buying card packs would probably be up there, but this for just WoW, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I'll have a link in the show notes if you want to dive into it a little more deeply, because that's what you do. Another thing that was interesting is a lot of people have been asking for a Warcraft 2 movie. I don't think that that's going to happen. And this is not just me being, oh, he didn't like the movie, so of course he doesn't think it's going to happen. It did great financially in China, but nowhere else. But they decided to sell off a lot of the movie props. Shields, like, that were, I guess, actually used by extras in the movie. I don't think this is actually most of them were the main people. A couple of them were. Medivh staff is one of those items I was looking at. I was like, that would be kind of cool to have, because I don't have that. That's the one legendary in the game I never got, because it's not available. And I don't even know that it was legendary, but Atiesh. I mean, there's all kinds of items here that you can pick and choose from. Alliance armor, lion shields, a map of Azeroth, which also could be kind of cool. But I don't know. And then the Stormwind news board was another one. I was like, I don't have room for that, but that'd be cool. But the Lordaeron shield and Medivh staff both look cool enough that I'd be like, if I had the money, I might think about it. But no. And keep in mind, this is an auction. So they're not like, it costs this much and there's only this many of them. No, I think they have one copy that they're selling. And it's whoever's willing to pay the most for them after probably whatever it costs to make them. So they're still going to try to make money off of them.
If they are not going to be actively using them for a new film, then why not?
Yeah. I mean, even before this happened, I didn't think it would get a sequel based on it made almost nothing in the US or anywhere that wasn't China.
Right. And that's, I did hear you say that. And it's like, I sort of feel like Warcraft has this, or at least the film, when it was released, it was sort of summery. Not a lot of people were playing at the time, or not as much. So, I mean, at least in America anyway. I mean, around the world, I mean, if you globally, if you look at it, it's not bad. Like, those numbers aren't horrible for a while. But I know that the director of the film was excited, said maybe he might want to do an Arthas story, but I don't know if they're ever going to do that.
You would have to do so much to set up Arthas that they would need another movie prior to. Arthas, I think, would be movie 3.
Right.
And I think they could do that one well, but the issue, it just didn't make enough money to justify, outside of China, to justify a sequel. So if we do get a sequel, it's going to be in Chinese. Because that's just how that works.
Right.
if it makes no money anywhere outside of one area, then be like, well, no one cares. And the issue, I think, and I said this a long time ago back when it happened, the promotion of the movie was trash. They had like synthwave, or not synthwave, but synths and dubstep for the previews, the trailers, and all that. And I'm just like, no, use actual. You don't, even if you don't use actual Warcraft music, use that style of music to get people in that headspace. Because
I mean, and the other thing is too is like, not only that, but not everybody. It's that style of music. It's not as popular as it is in other places. Like you can get away with that in like the Netherlands, Germany, across the pond, but not as much here anymore.
well, at the time, that was one of the more popular things that was out there, at least in a lot of circles and people that I knew. But it wasn't fitting. The music didn't fit the subject. Like it was like one of those things, and I'm going to compare it to a movie that was way better than it. But Lord of the Rings. Imagine if they did dubstep previews to Lord of the Rings. It doesn't matter how good the movie was. I would have not wanted to see it based on that alone, because it was like, that doesn't seem to fit. It was just a weird whatever. And honestly, and Alessandra in chat is bringing this up, the story was just confusing because you didn't know what was going on most of the time, because all of a sudden, oh, this guy who had no hint of being evil just turned into a giant evil monster. If you didn't know the story, you didn't understand what the heck was going on there. So it needed to be longer of a movie. And I understand why they cut it for time, because you don't want a 5-hour movie. I get that. But if you can't do it in 2.5 hours or 3 hours, if you want to get real ambitious, you need to cut it up into 2 movies. And you can't, and you couldn't do that with something like Warcraft, because you're not guaranteed to get your money back. Like Harry Potter and
what, 13 years of World of Warcraft plus 10 of the RTSs that they're trying to.
Well, that one.
Well, not even that. It's like what, 7 years of a game that they're trying to fit into 2.5, 3 hours.
Well, they were
That's
completely
number 1 and number 2.
They were ignoring all of everything outside of the first game, pretty much. Everything second, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne, World of Warcraft, and all expansions. They were just completely, this hasn't happened yet. They were focusing on that first, those first moments. So, Lich King would be a while. Deathwing would be a while. They'd have to do some kind of a flashback at the beginning to be like, hey, this is why this is the thing for that. And that would be a confusing as heck story to begin with. But you can't, if you're making a brand new IP in a movie, you can't split it up into 2 movies, because it doesn't have the guaranteed drawing power that, say, Harry Potter or Hunger Games. And people hated that those got split up. Harry Potter a little less so, because, in general, people just love Harry Potter movies. And even though Hunger Games, everyone most of the time loves those, they were like, you don't need to split this up. Why? What are you doing?
But now, Harry Potter, like you said, it was more so of those books are large. So I was good with that being split up. Now, Hunger Games, yeah. All right, I suppose.
I was, since Harry Potter's on mention here, I was more okay with it than Hunger Games. I never read the Hunger Games books. And I still haven't seen the last Hunger Games movie, so I don't know how it ends. But in terms of the Harry Potter ones, I was like, we can just do less of the camping at the end of the first one, and you could just do it. I understand why they split it up, because it is such a freaking long book. But if you read the book, you know that the middle part, there's a whole lot of stuff like, I don't need all of this. I understand why it's there. Right. Literally speaking, I understand why it's there. You want to show this is taking a long time. In a movie, you don't have that.
Yeah, that's
long.
Called book fluff.
Yeah, and that's fine.
And that's what I call it, like, because there's sometimes to where, because book showing the reader, it's called show and not tell. But movies have this different thing to it because it is more of a visual thing. It's not just within your own. So that, yeah, it doesn't need to be so fluffy or frilly there. It just didn't need to be. That's the same thing with the Hunger Games, those examples. And I'm even going to go into this. And I absolutely hated every second of this series. I really did. Twilight. There was so much fluff that didn't need to be there that it didn't need to be in the movie. Now, books is another thing, but, you know, like, yeah. I mean, all those sort of things have that. I would hate to ever see them make a movie out of the Earth Children's movie series of books, because it would be the same problem. Because these books are so large, or these stories are so large, that they would run through some fluff just for kicks for movies.
Yeah. And I wasn't going to mention the T word because I can't stand them, honestly. If someone else likes them, that's fine, but to me, they're a waste of
and
time and
I
space.
haven't really gotten into the 50 Shades of Grey thing either, but I'm sure that that's the same. I would feel the same.
Well, I have
But yeah.
personal issues against that movie, but that's not show related, so I'm not going to mention them.
Right.
But I kind of would have liked to see a Warcraft sequel just to see if it got any better. But if it got handled the same way, like if Blizzard themselves opened a movie theater, or not a theater, but a movie company, and just made it, even if it was animated or however they wanted to do it, I think then we'd get a good version. There were some pluses to the Warcraft movie we got. There were a whole lot of minuses.
Yeah. You know, and it's more of, you know, with these outsourced companies coming into a Blizzard space, so where Blizzard had to sort of surrender a little bit of that to them, and that's where it got all the fluff and the extra where it didn't need to in the film.
I don't think there's a lot of fluff in the Warcraft movie, and I'm sorry, guys. If you like the movie, that's great. I did not. There were parts of it I liked, but overall, I did not enjoy that movie. A lot. But that's not a secret. But again, I would have liked to see a possible sequel, because I do like the IP, obviously, because I play the game. But just to see, like, this was freaking Fellowship version. Like, it's obvious it's setting up a lot of stuff for later on. And because it didn't do all that well, because marketing and, you know, the lack of people going to see it, we're not going to see what it was setting up, how it was going to work out, and all that. So, you know, it is what it is. But again, if Blizzard ever decides to open its own movie company, kind of like Marvel, look how well that turned out. Go see Infinity War.
I mean, here's a question. Do you think if maybe Marvel stepped in and did something with the Warcraft movie that maybe it would have been different or better?
I don't know. Based on, so Marvel is its own thing, and they're making their own movie, so they know what they want to keep and all that. If they threw that kind of money at a Warcraft movie, yeah, I think it would have been a lot better. Because a lot of the issues I had with it, besides a lot of bad acting from certain people, were some of the CGI. Like, there were parts of the CGI, I was like, that looks like a first-time pass. And It did not look. It wasn't that it even didn't look how I imagined it. It just didn't look good. There were some that did, and a lot of them that did actually. Most of the time, the orcs looked great. There was a few orcs in there that I was like, no, that they look like they're made out of rubber. And the fact that they were CGI tells me they either ran out of money or ran out of time.
Or if not both.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't want to. I've spent multiple shows and at this point years dissing the Warcraft movie, so I don't want to do it too much because I actually do like most Blizzard things. It's just the movie didn't. Excuse me. But Alessander in chat mentioned Overwatch. That's another thing that I think I would love to see Blizzard themselves, no one else, Blizzard, make an Overwatch, even if it's animated again, make an Overwatch movie. I don't want to, like, at this point, we've seen that video game movies, 99.9 repeating % of the time, suck. Ready Player One, I would say, is a good video game movie. It's based off a book, not a game, but it's a game. It's kind of a game. And even then, I do have issues with that movie too, but I love the movie even though it's a popcorn movie. It's a popcorn movie. So,
I mean, and a lot of people went into that film expecting it not to be what the book was.
well, unless you were,
That is not.
if you paid any attention at all, you knew it wasn't going to be the book. Exactly. They outright said it. But
Right.
it's not.
But
Blizzard,
that was the
so.
expectation, though. So it was like, all right.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, probably not getting a Warcraft sequel, so we're just going to go ahead and move on because, yeah, we should. Heroes of the Storm! Woo! A game I play. Apparently not a whole lot of other people do. But interesting stuff, at least to me. We mentioned before something about the Dark Nexus with, new skins for some people, all that. Well, we got a little more information. We got a comic book, comic strip online and all that. Basically, they're just adding story to it, which I never thought it needed. It was just just randomly people show up and they fight. Seemed enough to me, but okay, but they wanted to add story. So they gave us a comic book, an online comic, much like the Overwatch comics that we've been getting. Only this was shorter. And it's definitely setting up some stuff. And, show notes will have links. But we got a bundle in the game that you can use. You have to pay real money for to get these skins and mounts. You can get the mounts with in-game gold, but they're bloody expensive. And even then, you can't get it. You have to use cash. You can't use in-game gold to get any of it. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Which, I'm actually looking at these, and if I played this game enough or more,
Mhm.
I probably would pay for these, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they look great. I mean, Gul'dan and Alarak both look awesome. I was really hoping we get some more skins, but that dog mount, which
it looks like the
Colterra and Cat, basically, yeah.
Yeah, and then the dark one, the Dark Nexus model ones for both characters look really good. Like,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Especially the Gul'dan, the deeper green. Not the normal fell green that we see in game, but the other kind of bluey green. Like, that is cool. Like, I like that. And they even did like a orangey yellow one, which is usually not my favorite set of colors, but yeah, I'd go for it.
Yeah. The biggest downside to me, though, outside of you can't use in-game currency to buy, you have to actually pay money to get them. You have to buy the gems and use the gems. You got 2 characters with skins, and that was it. Yeah, you got 2 characters with new skins, with new tints, and you got 2 new mounts. And that.
I mean, hopefully they'll add it later.
The way
for
it's
that, but
the way it sounds to me, the event is these are the characters for this one. We're probably going to get in a different event later, and all that. So I don't we'll probably get new skins for each event like that. But for the quote unquote Dark Nexus for this version, I think these are the two we're getting, and we're not getting all that many others.
yeah. And I just don't. I mean, I sort of suppose that what I'm saying is that if I was more of an Overwatch player, initially over the event, I can see cash being a thing, but maybe in 2-3 weeks after this, say, hey, you didn't get a chance to do this. Let's have a special weekend to where if you get enough, whatever it is, currency in game, to go in and then maybe purchase it that way, like have a special event that way, to get whatever it is that you want. Because not only will that be getting people what they want for the skins, but they'll also guarantee play time in the game too. So microtransaction guys, come on, let's do it, bang it out. So that's sort of where I'm thinking.
Yeah. But honestly, that's the big news for Heroes, other than pro scene crucibles are going on. Europe and America and Korea just had theirs late last night. So basically, the short version of that is just because they're a pro team doesn't mean they get to stay a pro team. The amateur teams have a chance to swap with them if they're good enough. But that brings us to Hearthstone, a game I don't play all that much, and when I do, it's generally the Monster Hunter or the Dungeon Run because I don't have to have all the cards. But they're doing a Noble Garden event, and there's a couple of rewards. First, if you log in during what they are considering Noble Garden in the game, you're going to get a golden egg napper and a golden devilsaur egg. I'm assuming that's going to be cards in the game. I don't know. It doesn't really say here on the Hearthstone website. But because it says golden, I'm assuming it'll be cards. So you get a turtle and an egg, which will likely hatch into a raptor. Devilsaur.
Yeah, which, by the way, the animations on the site are really cute. Like, come on, that turtle. You gotta love that.
Yeah. And then on top of that, they're going to do a brawl where there's a way to color the eggs. I don't know all that much of how this is going to work. Obviously, we haven't seen it yet. But
okay, so the way that it says it on the website is that you get one egg will spawn each turn, and you get to choose the color of the die for the card. So that means, that can mean a plethora of different hands, cards, things like that. So that's the way that I take that, and different buff for each egg that hatches. Or, some other random card that may be strong. That's the way that I read into that.
That's what it sounds like.
But I hope it's some sort of cute, really, like, raptor or, like, turtle or something. Maybe even a murloc. I don't know. But that would be cute. Like bunny murlocs. We need killer bunny murlocs in Hearthstone.
I don't know. That would be weird, having a bunny and murloc in one thing. But that's just me.
Come on, murlocs are adorable, even though we'd have to kill them.
It'd be a Bunlock.
Bunlock. Yeah, that works.
The Bunlocks are coming! The Bunlocks are coming! What are you talking about? Just run! You don't want to know. But anyway, we mentioned Overwatch. That was really about it for Hearthstone, so moving on to Overwatch. There was something that came available for pre-order this week. And I know a lot of people love playing Mercy and are scared to death every time there's a patch because they never know if Mercy's going to get nerfed to the ground again or not. But Mercy got her own statue. And it's $200. Same as the other statues, and I can't really yell at anyone for buying these. I bought a Reaper one. So,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
13, almost 14 inches tall, and it really shows her off, like
oh yeah.
original armor and stuff.
It
So
looks
if
really
you're
good.
a Mercy fan and you have the cash,
Mhm.
why not?
These statues, for the most part, I will never say they're not worth it. I spent the money on the Reaper one. I love the thing. It's great. I'm not going to get all of them. There are only certain ones. Like, I want the Widowmaker one. I want the Diva one. If they make a Junkrat one, I want that. But
Yeah, like the Widowmaker one. Yeah. Just for the paint job alone on that.
Yeah.
That purple, that vibrant purple. Yeah. I mean, if you can't tell, most Twitch channels that I'm in, my name is purple in there. Most of my transmog that you guys ever see is either my purple or my white one. So yeah. I don't play this game often enough. Like the other game we mentioned, but yeah, Widowmaker is one of my choices that I play. She's hard to play for me, and that's why I think I like her so much.
You got to be she's a sniper, so you got to be good at that kind of thing. I don't pick her often, but I do pick her out when I think it's appropriate. And then if I'm doing worse than I think I should be, I'll switch. If I'm doing really good and someone's like, you need to switch, I'm like, I'm gold on eliminations, damage, and time on the payload. You can switch because I'm not even supposed to be on the payload. I'm supposed to be somewhere in the distance. So if I'm doing really good at Widow, someone else can switch, and unless it gets to the point where she's worthless, which does happen, at least at my level of play. I'm not a pro, so you don't want to stay on her the entire match. But yeah, there's some statues. They are expensive. It was brought up in chat. Someone said they're too expensive. Okay, that's a fair. They are expensive. Not gonna lie there. But if you're a fan of that character or that kind of thing, Blizzard stuff tends to be more expensive overall compared to equal.
No, don't get me wrong. Is $150 to $200 for something like that a lot? In my opinion, yes, because I don't have $150 to always drop on something like that, especially for a game that I don't play as often. Now I do have some merchandise from Blizzard, like I do have the movie, I have some books, but the books aren't $150 either. So I would rather have, artwork, and not that these statues aren't art. I'm not dissing it that way. It's more of like I would rather have comics. Those books that the artists actually that work in the game, you see the same flipping through a book. Like I would rather have a book or a comic or something like that rather than the statue, because the statue would be out and casing glass or something like that. And I wouldn't always look at it, but every once in a while I would go back to the mouse pad, looking at the mouse pad or something like that. So it's more of, not that I wouldn't value that piece, but I think that I would value the art books or something like that a little more. And I do.
Yeah, and
so it's more of an opinion.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. You're allowed to think that. No matter, you could be, I love statues, or why would you get that? Like, it's a personal preference thing, and it's fine. I mean, I mentioned earlier I don't like the Warcraft movie, and I can't stand the T word movie that Zeph mentioned.
Now, those little Funko Pop things, I have a few of those, the little miniature ones. Like I have Khadgar over there. I have the Alliance, our dead king. Mandoin is not my king right yet, because he hasn't acted so as of yet to me. But yeah, like I have those things. Like I even have those little Lego things that I put together that my brothers got me for Christmas. Like those things are, I don't know, like I know that may seem a little bit childish, but it's like every once in a while I'll go and grab the king over there and I'm like, oh, I miss my king, or whatever. But I'd rather have something like that than this big fancy schmancy thing. And I don't know, it's weird. I know it's weird.
No, I mean, you have a preference that does not include statues. That is perfectly valid of a preference. My preference, which if I had to choose between statues or comics, well, I'm going to be like, why do I have to pick? Why can't it be both? Or it depends on what it is. Like if I had a choice between a Tracer comic and a Tracer statue, I'm going to pick the comic. Because I'm not the biggest fan of Tracer. Actually, what I would pick out of those two are not neither. With Widowmaker, I'd pick the statue. With Junkrat, I'd pick the statue. With Diva, the statue. With Mercy, I'd go with neither. I like statues though, so that's just how it is. Am I going to spend $200, $300 on, or however much the Diva one? I think it was $350. Am I going to spend that much on it? Absolutely not.
Yeah, like
If
I remember.
I mean, if I won the lottery, then maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Then
Yeah,
maybe, yeah, because I'd be like,
maybe.
yeah.
But even then, I might go, because I know not last year, but the year before, at the CTR BlizzCon party, the stream, I got a Ashes of Alar piece of artwork, and I would imagine that piece of art would go easily for a few $100s. And for me, like that, like I would absolutely, if I won the lottery, I would pay for that. Commission it, all whatever it is you want, you tell me, you will get it, because I love that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that to me is worth it. Like if it was the same value as this statue, I would pay for it. Absolutely. And only because, and not only do I have that in there, but I have another piece of art in there. It was a print from an artist by the name of Byron Witten. It's called the Creature Feature, and Elvira is in the front of that. And she actually, the lady that plays Elvira, signed that for me on the back. So that within itself is probably a few $100s too. So it's like crazy. I'm like, but he sold these prints, the smaller prints, for like $5. I'm like, dude, how are you not charging more for this? He's like, because I'm not as well known of an artist as others are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, because my sister bought the thing for me for my birthday, and I didn't know she was doing it until later. Or I would have given them an extra $5. I'm like, dude, really?
Yeah. I think that's part of why Blizzard charges what they do, is because they know like they're the big name in game stuff. So because their name is on it, like the Reaper statue, which to me $120 would have been about right. They're like, it's got our name on it, make it 200. People will still pay for it, and they did. Clearly, I paid for it because I bought the statue.
Funny thing is, I don't know if you remember when the dots, okay, stop dots T-shirt came out from what was it, Jinx?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was Jinx. Initially, those were like $20 shirts. I ended up getting it for $5 at a GameStop, and not even that. I don't think. I think it was actually like $4.50. Um, I know it was like $4.55. No more than that. And they couldn't get rid of it, and they were just about ready to mark it down when I went to reach for it. They were like, we were gonna mark that down by like $2. Do you still want it for the 5? I'm like, yes, because it's Blizzard. Take my money.
Yeah. That seems to be a lot of players and people's attitudes. It's got Blizzard's name on it. Take my money. Most of the time, it's worth it. Every now and then.
Especially for that shirt, though. That's good quality.
Yeah.
Like, I still have that shirt. Heaven forbid that like I wore it to work one day, and my supervisor sort of looks at me and he goes, "That's from Warcraft, isn't it?" I'm like, "Yes." Watch the video. And the next day he came in and he looked at me. He's like, and he says my name. He's like, "Oh my God, that was so funny. I was laughing for a good 10 minutes. I'm like, wasn't it?
But anyway, we should probably get back slightly closer to the rails.
Okay.
Just because, I see how much we have left and how much time
Yeah.
we should have left. And that's just not going to add up. Back to Overwatch news and stuff. There's a new map. If you played Retribution, you know what your map looks like. They converted it into a payload instead of just clear everything. So you actually need people to stand the payload. And I have found, at least at my level of play that I've been playing, Junkrat's a decent pick. If you're good at Widowmaker, she's a good pick. But a good combination of an Orisa and a Bastion is a nightmare, especially if there's a Mercy actually healing the Bastion, which I did not experience. We had a Mercy on my team, and I picked Bastion on there and mowed everything over, but the Mercy decided not to heal me, ever. So that was fun. But it's a fun map, despite obvious issues. And on top of that, when we got that map, there was all kinds of ability changes and stuff like that. The most notable that I noticed was Junkrat's Riptire is just slightly slower. So there's, buffs and nerfs all over the place. I will put the link in the show notes because obviously we don't really cover to that degree. But Blizzard will give you the actual numbers and all that, and it'll be a lot easier to follow. Have you played on the map at all, Zeph, or anything like that?
Not yet. Because, busy week, but yeah, I'll at least give it a shot. I'll take a look at it.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. If someone is a good sniper, then they're going to wreck you on this map because there are so many long sight lines. But another thing that happened this week was Season 10 started. Yay! I don't do my placements right off the bat. So I'm going to wait a little while, and then I'll do my placements. Because I don't want to submit the try-hard people in competitive to how bad I play. Even though if I'm getting matched with them, they're right around the same skill level as me. I always feel bad about subjecting other people to that. So I wait a little while and then do it. Because they try to get as many placements in as similar level placements as possible. And then, last up for Overwatch, don't be a jerk. And also, don't hack. So...
Or lose out on $10K.
Yeah, there were some people over in South Korea. 13 of them were arrested for hacking and fixing matches in Overwatch. Now, that alone is bad, the hacking and fixing matches. Over here, you're basically going to get a slap on the wrist and say you don't get to play anymore. Now, you go over to South Korea. That changes things because they take this crap seriously. Like, if it's an esport video game stuff, they don't screw around. This is like their big income of the country. Maybe not literally, but it's a major thing. They take it a lot more seriously than anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, not only did they lose out on that amount of money, they're probably going to get banned from all of these games.
Yeah.
One of these guys, from what I understand, reading all of the articles, was sentenced to 2 years probation. Like, is it even really worth it? Like, come on.
Yeah. So we got so far. We know of 2 players have been punished. One was giving. Let me make sure this is right. First player ended up with a 10 million won fine. That won is South Korea's money. Convert that over to US dollars, $10,000 fine. The other was given 2 years probation. The other 11, as of the article date, which was a couple days ago, have not been gone through their court system. Over here, you don't get to play a game anymore, and you were caught hacking the game, so you don't get to play anymore. That's about it. That would happen here. Again, over there, $10,000 fine, 2 years probation, which means over there, you don't get to play the game or any other game. You are screwed for 2 years. And then on top of that, no one is going to pick you up because you got caught. So stop doing that. I know it's tempting sometimes. Be like, oh, but no, it's not worth it. You are going to get caught. Everyone who does this, I'll correct that. Almost everyone who does this, just in case there's someone who manages to sneak it by. You get caught. So,
or you will get caught eventually.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
you might not get.
Just stop doing it. What little you possibly gain now, when you get caught, is gone, and then you lose even more. So just stop. Bad. But with Overwatch League, Blizzard is getting a little more serious about hackers and win trading and all that fun stuff, which they have to. So, and then once again, Alessander, who is a regular to contribute to, hey, did you see this? Did you see this? Or, she's in chat. She mentioned StarCraft players that throw matches get 5 years in jail if they're in Korea or from Korea. They take this crap seriously, people. So stop doing that. And that brings us to Warcraft. Speaking of stop doing that, there's a meme going through Twitch right now about the MDI and an issue people were having with a remake. Apparently, I believe it was Method had a bug, or maybe it was a team facing off against Method. I don't know all the details on this. I'm sorry, but there was a bug somewhere, or at least they claimed there was a bug. Blizzard investigated, agreed that there was a bug, so they remade the Mythic Plus to start over. And Twitch and Twitter and all these other places were just like, oh, they only said it was a bug because they knew they were losing. Okay. Blizzard agreed with them. They're not going to just remake stuff because someone said, oh, it's a bug. They looked into it. So I'm inclined to agree that it probably needed remade because something was going wrong. What that bug was, I have no clue. So I don't know. So we'll keep you up to date on anything we find out there. But to transition to something cooler, do you PvP, Zeph?
Not as often as I was like, not as often as I would like to.
Okay. Well, do you do the Warden Towers, the
Yeah.
PvE PvP?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you have multiple characters that you do these on?
yeah. Several. Horde and Alliance.
Well, you want to know something funny? With Honor turning into account bound, the more you do now, even if you do it on multiple characters, it's all going to be cumulative. AKA, if I have Prestige 5 or 7 or whatever I'm at on my Paladin, because at most my PvP has been the Warden Towers pretty much, and half the time I'm skipping them anyway. But I also have Prestige on my Mage and my Death Knight and my Demon Hunter and all that. All of the honor I've gotten is getting thrown into one lump. And by that I mean the honor itself, not, oh, you're level 31 on here, you're level 20 on this one, what makes you 51, yay, prestige. No, it doesn't work that way, because each level you need more honor to get to the next level. So the actual honor is getting thrown together, added up together. That's going to be your account PvP prestige, all that. So that means if you keep doing this, you're going to get that artifact appearance way easier. You're going to get whatever rewards way easier. So if you have multiple characters and you've been doing the Warden Towers and PvP and all that, keep doing that if there's rewards later on that you want. Because it's all going to get thrown together and you'll get that reward. And from the sounds of it, with it being account bound, like with the artifact appearance, that's going to be every single character will have that particular artifact appearance. Which, yay, free appearance. And this should happen for the pre-patch of BFA. So 8.0, probably July-ish, sometime in July. Whenever the pre-patch goes, I think that's when they're going to do this. If not, it will be 100% when BFA goes live. And because it's not one of the 2 appearances that are getting locked behind this expansion only, you'll get the appearance. So yay.
Yeah, so by the sounds of it, between my mage and my priest and my paladin horde side, yeah, they're want to get it.
Yeah. I don't play every one of my characters every day. In fact, most of them I don't play at all, like maybe once a month. But I have 19 max level characters. If I went through and did just the towers every day, I would have so many prestige levels whenever this goes live. It would be amazing. Of course, by that same note, I could do the pet battles and have the item that expands my roster if I actually did them. But that's another story. But yeah, the PvP, everything's getting thrown together. It's account-wide. Free artifact appearance. As long as you actually have the amount of honor you need to get there. And then, returning this week, do you have a Demon Hunter, Zeph?
Yeah, but not at 110. And to be honest with you,
well, luckily you don't need to be 110. As long as they are able to queue up for dungeons with Horde or Alliance, you can do Black Temple Time Walking. Because it's
that
level
means I'm
70.
gonna have to. Yeah, because that means I'm gonna have to tank. And I already tried to do that the other night, and I'm just like, nope, not doing it.
Yeah, take the Demon Hunters as DPS. You'll be happier. But the reason I asked if you had a Demon Hunter is because with Black Temple Time Walking, if you have the original versions of the Blades of Azeroth from old level 70, you can get the appearance on the Demon Hunter. It doesn't matter, as long as you have the achievement for having both of them on any character, new Demon Hunters can go in and get the appearance. Now, you only need to do this once. So if you have, like me, 5 Demon Hunters, then you have that appearance unlocked on all of them, because you will then have the required achievement to unlock it on all of them. So there's that. But there's actually some decent loot. It's going to be current raid level, normal. Whether is it worth it to go in there? Well, that depends on what you get. It can Warforge and Black Temple. So, and it'll, like I said, it's going to be like 9, whatever the current normal item level is, 920. I'm just going to say 930-ish. That's what's going to drop out of Black Temple. There are some really powerful trinkets. Just saying. Some of them way better than the current raids trinkets. So if you can get those to Warforge up pretty good, then you're going to be like, oh my god, I just hit the lottery. So, 2 more things to go. Zeph, do you remember or did you see anything from this past BlizzCon?
Yeah. I did watch a little bit of the dress up thing.
Cosplay.
That was cosplay stuff. That was okay. But I do remember watching some of the talent show too, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I have never seen, I went there in 2015. I didn't go to see either one because I was at the CTR party. I told them I'd show up early and help if needed. I got there and they didn't need my help. They were good. But anyway, talent show I always watch. The costume contest I always watch. Virtual ticket later on or whenever it's live. But Chris Hardwick, Blizzard, bring him back because he's cool. And
yeah.
Outside, like Will Wheaton, and a lot of people didn't really care for him. I thought he was fine. But Chris Hardwick has been my favorite host so far.
Yeah, Chris Hardwick, great guy. I've been a fan of his since his, tech TV days, all that. And him and the other host, the guy host from the Virtual Ticket, Alex Albrecht, he does a good job too. Great job. What you see is what you get with Alex. So I've always enjoyed what he did. I remember way back when he was on doing that podcast, Dignation. I watched the entirety of that show, start to finish. So been a fan of his forever. He always does a good job. Yeah. That one other lady, I can never remember her name. Blonde girl. She did a really good job too.
Michelle Morrow.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, the reason I brought up BlizzCon, and Chris Hardwick in particular, is there was a gag that was, I can guarantee, was not something that was a scripted thing. Because no one thought it was going to happen. Where he was like, the one dude won the talent show with his song. And Chris Hardwick was all, I have no power to actually do this, but you're getting in the game. Well, this week, he's in the game in Battle for Azeroth. Jay the Bard, winner of the talent competition, the music one, is in the game. So now We have both winners. Kaz with her Hogger costume and Jay the Bard with his song. And he's got custom music in the game too for his area. I don't know if he plays it or what's going on there. We haven't figured that out yet. But has been found
I
he's got
will
custom.
jump into the beta later, and I will report back for next week.
Yeah. I have access to the beta. As soon as I can copy my character over, that's when I'm going to jump in and try it and test it. Because at this point, all of my characters outgear what they start you with. So I want a closer to real experience.
Yeah.
So, sorry I had to take care of some chat stuff. I have a feeling that's going to be going for a while. Anyway. Getting back to news. Jay the Bard is in there. Blizzard Dev did a interview. This is going to be the last thing we talk about, guys, so hang in there. No, it's getting late for some of us. Some of you. A Blizzard Dev, Warcraft production director, John Haidt. If I'm missaying your name, I apologize. Was talking allied races, story, blah, 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 all this other fun stuff. There was a couple things which we knew, a couple things we didn't know. Expansion plots usually develop 2 or 3 expansions in advance, which means Warlords of Draenor was being developed right around the time Lich King and Cataclysm. Which means Legion was, same thing, Battle for Azeroth. Like, they're a couple expansions farther than we are, which we knew. 2 stories for each faction, which we are being told. There's still some really blizz when it comes to, is it really going to be us versus, is it going to be really Horde versus Alliance the entire way through? And they're not telling us who the end boss is. But with data mining coming out, and I'm not going to spoil anything, it's possible we'll get the Horde versus Alliance the entire way, but it's also possible that, like every other expansion, something happens where we have to team up. That's not a spoiler, that happens every expansion. But we might get an actual knockout, drag out against each other too. Who knows? They talked about allied races and, who they would like, how long it takes to do, that kind of thing. Most notably, they mentioned Zandalari Trolls would be available before the launch. Decided it should unlock when we actually get to earn their trust in-game, which makes sense, except I have Hero of the Zandalari on my Paladin. I should get to play it now. Just saying. And I'm not being serious. But more races are being planned. All that fun stuff. Was there anything in this Zeph that caught your eye?
I mean, of course, the trolls, they're going to be sketchy because they do feel like, why should we do anything for you? Like, look at what happened to, look at Bulgent. Like, you have to earn our trust. Like, that man died for us, and you know.
Well, technically, Vol'jin died because Varian died, and they were like, we can't have one leader without the other. And I'm just like,
but Varian chose.
I still
to do that.
I'm blaming Jaina.
And I'm not saying Jaina didn't have a part in that, but he still ultimately had a choice.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying, and I've said this I don't know how many times, Jaina just vanished. If she would have been there, she could have got him out.
Talked him out. Yeah, talked him out of it.
They could have retreated faster. Get the ship out. Don't worry, we have a mage. We can leave. Even if it would have been Old Dalaran or the Theramore portal, she could have put slow fall on them.
Right, and the other thing that I caught my eye for this, someone mentioned Wildhammer Dwarves for a possibility. But I know recently Bellular released a video about another flavor of elf.
He's not the only one.
And I'm sort of... Yeah, but his was... I follow his stuff. And I sort of... My feeling is, if we're not... Like, it felt to me like, oh, High Elves Horde. And... these little void things. You do that. I didn't really think that we're going to get anything else as far as elf.
Well,
or at least the way that it came off to me. Like, we're not going to do this just one thing because this is what you want. Sorry, it's already there. And sorry, it's sort of already there with the other side too. Why give us one more?
Anytime they give us more customization, I think is good.
Right, and that's... With that being said, of course, that's always a thing.
Yeah.
And that will forever be a thing among us players of the game. Like, of course, we're going to want it. But if that's the approach that's going to be taking, then I don't want no more elves. Don't give it to me. Like, I don't care. Like, stick with your guns. Don't just give it to me because we've been begging for something else. Don't just do it to pacify me. Like, no. Get out of here. Like, really?
Yeah.
Because of course I'm going to play a vampire elf. What? Who wouldn't?
Well, we don't know that that's going to be a thing, but signs are starting to point in that direction, same as Volpera have been for a while.
Right.
The problem is, well, no, while it's speculation, it could be looked at as spoiler, so I'm just going to drop that. But there's...
but I'm more of... even if Volpera isn't a playable race, I'm happy that they're going to be there. You know what I mean? Because that does give depth to the story.
Maybe.
Which, okay. Yeah, maybe. But, I hope that they are something maybe later.
Yeah.
But the fish people do seem like something that could be a viable thing.
Given enough time, I think we're going to have more allied races than normal races, because at this point, they could just be allied races. They don't need to give us an actual new race. Like, here's an allied race. You have to get their trust, and then you can play them.
Yeah, exactly. And, I just don't want to... How can I say this without sounding like a jerk?
Carefully.
But yet, I don't want to be spoiled by too many of these things. If you're just going to give it all to us up front, then what are we going to get later? Like,
well,
later there's not going to be anything to give. Unless you're going to come up with a story out of your butthole again and give us 10 more things. You know what I mean? Like, that just doesn't seem to be very...
I don't think that we'll get that many allied races every expansion. I think they're just throwing a bunch of them out because they were like... I would have guessed they'd be a little easier because they already have the models. They just had to adjust them for players. But they wanted to throw a whole bunch of them for, look at what we got. I mean, here's some shiny new stuff.
And if they're, honestly, if they're going to give us all this many things, just give me a damn Murloc to play and we'll call it a day. Like,
unless both sides
I'm sorry.
unless both sides can play as a Murloc or a Naga or Volpera, it'll be very hard to put them in game.
Yeah.
And I threw
Like, and
Volpera in
that's
there on
when,
purpose.
you know, and like, less so Volpera, but fish people, Murlocs, just put them in. Like, both Alliance and Horde, I don't care. Like, they can stay neutral. Just give it to me. You know, if you're not going to give me the high elf thing, give me the fish people. You know, just come on. Like, I don't care if they have legs or not. Just come on. I mean, you gave me a moose to ride on in game. Actually, 3 of them. So
yeah,
give me my Murloc.
There's more than that actually now, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know,
the problem is, especially with Murlocs, is we have no friendly Murlocs in game. Like they're all like they're their own clans. They all basically want to kill you on sight, no matter where you go.
Well, you're waving this fish people thing in front of me. You know, maybe that the fish people can have some voodoo magic or some whatever plinko on their head and like bop them with my magical little wand and make them good. I don't know.
I do think
do something.
I think it's important that there are some races out there, Murloc, Naga, that people want that we never get to play as. That being said, I would like to play as a Murloc and a Naga both. But I don't know that it would ever happen.
Like even if it's just like they went with Pandaren, you know, and they took it a step further to where we had to choose a faction, maybe let them be non-faction. And we're against everybody else. I mean, I know that seems to be a wide sort of idea, but I don't know. Like, maybe...
don't know. Like, as much as I bring that up for Volpera a lot, I don't know that they're ever going to do that again. And with certain races, they would almost have to. Otherwise, you are completely screwing the other half. Like, tons of people Horde want to play as a Murloc. Tons of people Alliance want to play as a Murloc. If Horde got it, the Alliance people would be ticked. It doesn't matter what they got. They would be ticked. Same with Volpera. Maybe not to the level. They're not going to be to the same level because Murlocs, I think, are slightly more wanted at this point.
Well, and that's what overall. I'm saying. Maybe make them neutral and make it sort of...
I don't know that they're going to do that again. That was the thing. For Pandaren, it mostly worked, but it's still kind of weird that a Pandaren would possibly have to fight another Pandaren in a war whenever they started as neutral and they just chose one side over another. It's like, hey, I mean, you're going to go to the battlefield and you're going to have pandas on both sides. And like, hey, Bob. Hey, Jim. Guess we got to do this. Yeah. You're still cool, though. It just is kind of one of those weird... It doesn't really work in the current narrative that they're trying to do, which is fight against each other. Even if they all spoke the same language. Like, let's say everyone spoke normal common, which a lot of, like we know right now, Alliance can't talk to Horde, and Horde can't talk to Alliance because the language barrier doesn't work. Even if that didn't, which makes no sense because they talk to each other in the cinematics all the time. But let's say that's completely removed and everyone speaks the same languages. You're not going to get the hey Bob, hey, like, it just doesn't work that way. Like, you grew up in Horde or Alliance as opposed to the pandas grew up off on their own and they just joined one or the other. So I don't know that neutral is going to be a thing that's going to happen. I mean, it's a nice idea, and I like the idea. Story-wise, however, there are some issues. That's all I was saying. But with that, I think we're going to call that a show because we did run a little longer than was planning. And yeah, try not to do 2-hour shows every week.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was bantering.
No, you're fine. I just was saying we don't. Once in a while, 2-hour show, it happens. Especially when you start off last week's show with 20 minutes of Marvel talk and then all that. But every week should not be 2 hours. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and call that a show. Zeph, do you have any way people can get a hold of you online?
One of the ways is in the Epic Fail Discord. I'm there in the Discord by Zephyriah or the Twitters. Zephyriah_Zella. So I'm also there. Links are always in, wherever I am to the blog, and my Discord is also on my blog as well. It's a link that you can, hey guys, you can click on those things. I promise they work. It's called a mouse and keyboard. You have to try it.
I don't have to do anything, but I could.
It's great. Trust me.
Yeah. And do you have any shout outs? We didn't do any shout outs last week just because of how long the show was, but do you have any shout outs?
Actually, I will give a shout out to Sal. And the reason why I'm giving a shout out to Sal, because she came in on the Converted and she was tired and she did a really good show. And I love her for it because Sal was always so perky. And, it might not seem like, she feels like she's low energy, but she does good. So thank you, Sal, for being awesome.
Okay. As for me, easiest way to get hold of me, over on Twitter, @Draven Dresden. As long as you're civil, polite, whatever, as long as it's in that realm of discourse, we can talk. We're good. But you just gotta, say hi. Even if it's constructive criticism, I can take that. As long as you're not a jerk, we're cool. As for any shout outs this week, I've got one in particular. And it's just, a minor thing. I'm going to give a shout out to Fist from Lightning Balls because tomorrow is her birthday. Yay, happy birthday. So that'll be my shout out for the week. Obviously, there's Kat who headphones, but that's
yeah,
been
thanks, Kat, for the headphones.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's multiple shout outs for that, but it bears repeating, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that being said,
yeah, I think the next show that I'm on, which is All Things Azeroth, I'll give her a shout out there too for your headphones.
well, you could have plugged that in your, hey, this, how do you get a hold of me? That
I just thought about that there for a second.
Not a problem.
All Things Azeroth, Monday. Head to their Discords or go Google search. They have a website. I think it's just allthingsazeroth.com. I'm sure Medros would love to hear from you. Yeah, that him and Toasty and I are gonna do the show on Monday.
Toasty. Sorry, Mortal Kombat moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, stuff I gotta say before we end the show. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/podcastepicfail. $1 a month, $5 a month, $50 a month if you really feel like it. I think it goes up to $100 if you really were crazy. We're not asking you to do it. We will appreciate it. We will love you for it. We will say thank you. We will also be incredibly confused.
And look at you incredibly funny.
Be like, really? But yeah. We will say thank you and all that. We have a Discord, bit.ly/epicfieldiscord. That seemed like the easiest way to do it. Come say hi. Jump into trade chat, which is our main general thing, and do @Scarlet and say hi. Just to, ping her and bug her. Because that's one thing she used to say. And we miss you, Scarlet. And then,
yes, Scarlet, we do miss you. Hi.
Portions of the opening theme song, which is most of it, actually, is from bensound.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. thanks. We appreciate it. If you want cool stuff, go over there. Another one to go check out, which we'll eventually get around to doing some more, like end bumpers and stuff like that. Kevin MacLeod over at incompetech.com is another place. Both those sites have some really cool music. As long as you say how you're using it and all that, you can use some of that stuff for free. And you just got to promote them, and it's great. So I believe that is a show. Again, thanks everyone for listening. Chat room for coming out. Zeph, thank you tons for... I gave you a shout out at the beginning of the show, so that's why you didn't get it at the end. But thank you again for...
That's okay.
Thanks again for, especially last minute, and possibly skipping out on a Mount Run. So try to get you in my raid team if you're available some week. We got a couple more months yet, so you'll get it.
Yeah, so officially my Saturdays from now until like mid-June are gone. So I gotta shoot for it other Friday nights with Perky Pugs or some other random day.
Yep. All right, so this is the end of the show, so we need some last words for the show. So Zeph, do you have any, or do I have to make something up?
Let's put you on the spot and be quick and witty. But don't take Rathion's law cookies.